Hey, welcome back to the
What's
Douche-Cast.
up?
I'm joined with Brendan and
Yo, what's up?
Dylan.
What's up?
How's it going?
Today, we're just doing a little point five episode, talking about a little random ass topic. Actually, no, since we have all three of us here, wouldn't this be more of counted as episode
I
one
feel
then?
Yeah,
like
maybe more of a full episode. Since unless episode zero was kind of like a trial run.
we could just might as well just
Yeah,
make it
yeah,
Yeah,
episode
might as
one.
well just make it a full episode.
Even if it's only like
yeah.
half
yeah.
hour, I guess it depends on how long we go with this stuff.
I also did a lot of research on the Conjurverse. I am well versed in Bathsheba
Oh,
and La
yep.
Leona.
hmm
Yeah.
Speaking of which, that is what we were talking about today. We're talking about the Conjuring or the Conjuring universe in itself. We're gonna be talking about the first movie, the second movie, and La Llorona as well. Which Brendan, you didn't get too well versed in the second one, did you?
Uh, which one?
The second one.
The second movie.
Really didn't care too much about the sequels since when I was researching, they said they were more like fanon.
Yeah.
Not the second one. The first one and the second one are both based off real life stories. All
Mm.
the rest of them are based off just random shit
I
that aren't
think
really
we
based in truth. The second one, especially, is just like much more. Sorry. The second one, especially, is based much more in truth because it's the one that has like a video in it that actually took place in real life back in like the 70s, like early 80s and 90s,
Mm.
where like a girl is like talking and then she starts to sound like a 70-year-old smoker,
Yeah, yeah.
like a male one at
I
that.
forgot.
That one is very important in that, but we can explain
That
that to
is
you.
that is still
But yeah,
fucking creepy though.
yeah.
yeah, but we're gonna be talking about the Conjuring universe, some of the things about that. We're just gonna be talking about it, go back and forth with it. I think that's all we
Yeah.
got for
I
today, though.
think I don't just in my case, I feel like there's a lot more to talk about with The Conjuring 1, so we might rely on that a little bit more cuz to me it's just like there's more real evidence behind it, whereas I feel like there's some stuff, or there's a lot more like made up stuff to make it look real in the second one. Um, and then like just following those topics, Kanye was right.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
So starting out,
Anyways,
go
so
go for it.
the Conjuring one, yeah, the Conjuring one, of course, takes place in the 70s. By and it takes place with the Perrin family, which would be Roger, Carolyn, and his five daughters. Originally in the 70s, based on like the actual original story, it was Roger bought a farmhouse that had 14 bedrooms. Yeah, it's
Holy
a fucking
Yeah,
Lord,
me and
shit
Kai
ton.
goddamn
just
mansion.
found out about
Yeah,
that before like we started recording and stuff.
14 bedrooms, and he got it for cheap too. And he bought it, on a whim. He's like, fuck yeah, bro. Like, why not? Why wouldn't I buy
Who
that?
wouldn't?
So he bought it, and they started to experience, of course, paranormal things. They started to hear voices, and things started to be thrown around, all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the Warrens ended up getting involved, Ed and Lorraine Warren. In the original story, it said that when Lorraine first walked into the house, the first words that came out of her mouth were, "This place is haunted, and it's haunted by Beth Sheba." She apparently knew the name immediately, which does kind of hinder onto some of the the actual believability
Yeah,
of
the
it. She could have just been
credibility.
fed the local legend. But there are some things that don't really align as well with the movie when it comes to like real life facts.
Yeah.
For example, the fact that Bathsheba killed herself when in reality her gravestone in real life says that she died in 1885 when it says she hung herself in 1849.
Yeah,
So, a little bit of a Oh, sorry, keep
when I
going.
was researching the topic, one of the first things that I realized was that Lorraine, her not Lorraine, the person who was possessed.
Carolyn.
Yeah, when she was possessed by Bathsheba and stuff, and I was learning about Bathsheba, apparently the timelines were like a couple years off. Like for the prime example that I remember off the top of my head was the birth date being a couple years off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause-
And I understand, the movies and
Of
everything
course,
like that can't get
you gotta
everything right.
movify it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they gotta move it along. You can't sit there for like 7 hours to wait for all that shit to pass. No.
Exactly, exactly.
But some of the dates in real life don't add up as well. There is, of course, the real life legend that she did kill a 1-year-old boy with a sewing
Yeah, I
needle.
was gonna talk about that
Bro,
too.
Um,
not even 1 year old.
yeah, that yeah, he was below. He wasn't even a year old. He was less than a year old, and he was being taken care of by her, and he mysteriously died due to a fatal incident. And there was never any trial on record, and apparently local women were enraged that she never had a trial. But she's also been said to have been related to Mariantown Esty, who is a witch who was hung in
Yeah, during the
1693, or
Salem witch trials, right?
92.
it might have been
No,
before
yeah,
that.
it was.
92, okay.
She was part of the Salem
And
witch
yeah,
trials. Yeah,
Dylan was a part of
yeah,
those as well. Yeah, he was one of the people that
Oh,
hung.
yeah, bro. I
Um,
got you.
yeah, I was there, bro. Trust me.
but
Yeah.
trust. She spattered out some
I
satanic shit.
burnt the
Trust.
stupid bitch.
Die, you stupid
You
bitch!
stupid witch.
Yeah,
My gosh.
she was she was said to be related to her, but that's just local rumor,
Yeah, that's
local
just
legends.
folklore and all
There's
that.
no. Yeah, and it's also said that Bathsheba, when she had her own child, killed the child when it was only about 7 days old in front of a fire. And when her husband caught her, she went out to a tree, proclaimed her love for Satan, cursed anyone that took her land, and then hung
Yep.
herself.
Yeah.
That is supposed to take place in 1849, but there was no, and it was also said that she had 5 more children after that, or rather like 4 to 5, but no record of them existing has ever been like put on record, of course. And her husband ended up dying in 1881, but of course her gravestone still says
That's so
1885.
weird.
Yeah.
So there's
Because
a lot
my
of there's a lot of
my
weird little
source
things.
says
Like that.
Um.
1863 is when Bathsheba married Sherman, like the father, or sorry, the husband and father.
So she would have hung herself 20 years before she ever got married to him. Is a little
Yeah,
bit of
there's
a
a lot
weird
of
thing
Yeah,
to
mixed
say.
up
there's
dates.
there's a lot of little inaccuracies, but for the majority, I'd say it's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
Also,
Yeah, you know.
with that thing with hanging yourself and proclaiming her love to Satan, I thought that was interesting because I did a little bit of research, and apparently in the Satanism religion, I say religion, but I really don't have any better words for it.
yeah,
Apparently, when like confessing your love to Satan, it was in hopes to like, uh, in layman's terms, level up their relationship with Satan, so like they're viewed higher in his eyes. You know what I mean?
whack.
Yeah, and it's also there's did you say you'd be
No,
back?
I said whack.
Oh, sorry. My bad. There's also things like that in the movie as well that are like, like the knocking like 3 times on the walls.
Mhm.
It's meant to be like an insult, and it starts in threes and it ends before dawn. Is meant to be an insult to the Holy
Yeah,
Trinity.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and all that.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird shit like that. Like in the movie they did stuff like that, and I thought it was really cool. They actually went through with
Mhm.
that.
What?
I think.
Sorry,
Oh,
I was just
sorry,
gonna
keep going.
say, like, I don't know if you already mentioned this at all, but like, what's really just hard to like wrap your head around and stuff is like, uh, how they use things in the movie from things that are like, in real life, whether it's in like books or like the Bible religious books or whatever like that, or evidence that Ed and Lorraine Warren found or their beliefs and stuff like that. Things that
Mhm.
like very well could be real, but also couldn't be, obviously. Like there's just so much debate with that. The things that they used in the movie, that when you find out that those things are related to like real life, it makes the movie that much more like just terrifying, dude. Especially at the end.
Yeah, it's
Like
weird.
you watch a horror movie like about Michael Myers and everything's like, oh
Right,
well,
it's just
he doesn't
classic horror
exist.
movie.
Of course, Michael Myers was based off of people, like a real person. I believe him and Jason were based off real people. Same with Texas Chainsaw Murderer, but this one like was based off like at they were these weren't based off real people. These were just depictions of things that happened in real life, which makes it much more scary, especially at the end of the movie when they like show you all the pictures of the real Perrin family and Ed and Lorraine Warren. You're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, these are real
Oh,
people.
damn.
They didn't change any of the names. Like you just see everything. You're just
And
like,
how you
what the
can
fuck?
find like some
And you start
footage
to
of some of the cases Ed and Lorraine Warren were on. Uh, it it's weird, dude.
which that statement ties into the
Right.
second movie, where Adam, the whole point of the second movie. I don't know if either of you guys have seen it, but during the second movie, two policemen, come to the house to investigate the
It
quote
was in
unquote
London,
hauntings
yeah.
and everything like that.
Yeah.
It was in London, yes, and during these like when they were looking around, according to a police officer's report, a chair moved on its own and went perfectly back into its place from where whence it was moved, and it made it more believable because why would a police officer lie? They have nothing to gain
Yeah,
from
they have
that.
nothing to gain from
And apparently,
supernatural occurrences.
Yeah.
yeah, and the police officer gave, the lady that was her mother, I can't even remember her name. All I know is that they were called the Hodginsons, which is Janet Hodginson, who was the like main character of the second movie. She was the person who was possessed. I can't remember her mother. I think it was Peggy, somewhere around there. And the officer gave her contact in the church, who could ended up reaching out to Ed and Lorraine, and they ended up investigating it. That's where like the famous footage came of Janet Hodgson speaking as an older man with a deepened voice, just on
Oh,
film.
that's where it came from?
Yeah.
Yeah, she just kind of sits there and then she just goes like, knock knock, in like a really low voice. Like her voice is lower than
No,
fucking
it's
Dylan's,
I've
dude.
seen it too.
Like
What I didn't understand was how calm her sisters were that were sitting like literally right next to her, and they were just kind of like looking at her like, yeah, she just kind of does that, you know. I was like, what do you
She's
mean?
just trolling. She's just
I
trolling.
know. I was.
it kind of makes it like less believable at the
Yeah.
same time, but it's also makes it maybe they've been putting up with it for that long that they just don't really care at that point.
That's it, it was always like crazy to me how in the movie too, like how calm or like how calm everyone looked around like seeing the spirits and stuff. Like obviously they're spooked afterwards, but like me in the theater or like when I watched it or whatever, I was just like, nah, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it could be like maybe there wasn't so much like evidence or like quote unquote proof of that stuff, so maybe they just didn't know much and they just had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, maybe they thought it was like a huge ventriloquism act.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
And that's what ended up happening is they decided to just say that, oh, no, there's no haunting here. It's just girls who are really talented in ventriloquism and moving things around with strings around their house, to gain like fame and money and shit like
Yeah.
that from it. And it's an interesting argument to make. Of course, people have to justify why this is happening. They have to rationalize, oh well, yeah, of course it's just girls talented in ventriloquism, and it very well could be that, but it's that little lingering thought in the back of your head, it's like, but what if it
yeah,
isn't?
Yeah, what if it's like
What if
legit?
this is real? Like, what the fuck am I gonna do against that demon, if it is real?
phasmophobia.
Just murder
They're
all
playing
of them.
Nightmare Difficulty.
Yeah.
But something that I also found interesting when I was doing research was when the initial hauntings happen, when with the family that's like actually in the movie.
uh
When
Yep.
the
For which movie?
Conjuring one.
or the parent family.
The parents. The
Yeah.
parents.
Um, when the hauntings originally started, apparently it was like benevolent, like it was actually nice, and there were like interviews of the children, and they were saying that a ghost would like tuck them into bed and like
Oh
kiss them on their
yeah, that there's
forehead,
actually
and
like
then
nice spirits around for a while.
yeah, and then when they were asking like, well, how did you know? Like, well, the first thing I realized was the uh smell. This their scent was different. Like, just an example, I don't know if this is like actually what it smelled like or not, but they said that their mom smelled like lilac and something else,
Oh right.
but the benevolent spirit smelled like wild fruit and all of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think that's really interesting that it started with a nice spirit, and I like to imagine in my head that when all that was going on, it kind of like shined a beacon to Bathsheba, just like, hey, there are fuckers in your house. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Well, I mean, it also makes sense because, like, oh, sorry.
Sorry, just real quick, like maybe that makes sense as to why they were all so calm is because they were used. Because the other thing I remember reading about too was they had said that they just like put up with these nice spirits, like they just kind of were chill with them and stuff. And I was like, first of all, how, bro?
Yeah, they even after the exorcism of Bathsheba, they still lived in the house with ghosts for
Yeah.
years afterwards, because the ghosts in that house were all people that Bathsheba had apparently killed over the years. That's why the house is so like, no, the original 200-acre farm property had been cut off, subdivided, like sold off and everything
Yeah.
like that. And people had been dying on it, but anyone that was on that 200-acre plot land apparently was like ended up dying. Like a mother and her boy, like Rory, ended up drowning themselves in a river or a puddle or a lake nearby. And a woman who worked in a nursing home apparently slit her wrists and cut
Yeah,
herself,
the
and
housemaiden
killed
or
herself.
whatever.
Yeah.
hmm And these were all like spirits who were influenced by Bathsheba to do this, I suppose.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's a weird thing to think about. Which also, like, if you think about like when stories are based in real life, it makes them scarier. La Llorona can also be seen
Yeah,
as the
La
same,
Llorona is
because
fucking terrifying.
she is based off of Mexican folklore of a woman who, married. She was a beautiful poor woman who married this like rich Spaniard man, and she was Mexican, but he was from Spain, so like there's differences there, culturally. But she bore him two children that he loved, but he eventually stopped looking at her with eyes of lust, and he found a younger woman. And when she found out about this, La Llorona found out, she, got so heartbroken and so, angry that she killed and drowned her two children to get back at him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was heartbroken, and she started to cry because she realized what she did. She actually like straight up killed her children, and she all she wants now is to have her children back. So the whole legend is like, if you hear a crying woman near a puddle of water or like in a body of water, do not go near her, for that is La Llorona. She will kill you and use your soul to try to get her children
Yeah.
back.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the little folklore tale. That's like a rough version around it.
I mean, you got all the
There are
you
so
got all
many
the
more
main
legends.
bits.
Yeah, there's different legends in like Mexico, Guatemala, the United States, and in Venezuela. There are so many different ones. There's ones where her children were killed, so they weren't killed by her. They were killed by her family. So then she cries. She places like wooden crosses above doors to ward off those kind of spirits. But then she cries for her children, but she didn't do it, so it makes her feel even
Mm-hmm.
worse. There's other ones where like in Guatemala, what is it? The woman was condemned in the afterlife to search for her murdered son in every place where there's a pool of water, and she does that by crying out for him. Hence her moniker of the Wailing Woman or La Llorona.
Yeah.
There's so many different legends about it. It's kind of like a Wendigo, stupid shit like that. But I didn't feel like the Conjuring did it justice, in my opinion. I feel like they just kind of
Yeah,
butchered
I
it.
remember seeing like bits and pieces of the La Llorona film, and some of it just, eh.
Yeah.
The movie seemed a little too spoofed in my opinion. But a nice little detail with the La Llorona lore is you know how her weakness is like redwood, because those
Mm-hmm.
yeah. The reason why is because when she originally killed her children in the river, the trees were the only ones that could witness the horrors that she did. So
Oh, what the?
that's like
That's whack.
that's like having a key witness helping you in a case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Well, cool,
There's
quote
in,
unquote.
Yeah. Dude, I sick.
oh yeah, those children died. Oh yeah, fuck them
Murdering
kids.
children based.
Beast.
Fuck them kids, bro. They don't need shit from
Okay.
me.
Oh God, asking way too much. Hell no, I'm not gonna feed you. Eat a dick.
Also, talking about, like, bro, the practical effects in the first Conjuring also helps it be like, okay, it's a little too real, bro. A little too real.
I agree. I think in the first movie, like the person who dressed up as Bathsheba, did you know that that was actually a dude?
No
That kind
fucking
of
way.
makes sense, dude.
It It's a very famous guy who dresses up all the time in makeup and stuff like that. He's a very skinny man who dresses up as all sorts of different characters in complete makeup and everything. But yeah, he dressed up as Bathsheba, and like the practical effect of just her like just being there is fucking
Yeah, dude.
terrifying. Do you guys remember the sheet scene from the first
Oh,
movie?
when
Oh yeah.
Fucking Lorraine's doing
Oh
laundry,
yeah.
you know, to help them out and everything,
Oh my
and it
gosh.
gets windy, so she's taking the sheets down, and it just drops, and then a fucking outline of a ghost appears, and then it floats to the window, and she sees a ghost start to walk towards Caroline's room, and then and then the fucking ghost like spits blood inside of her mouth to
Oh
fucking possess her.
yeah.
That shit is fucking
Dude, that
And then
whole
there's
creepy.
that.
sequence was
Oh,
so
sorry.
cool though. Like thinking about how they did that, like the sheet blowing over and then it just disappears and then she's in the window. Like, bro.
It makes you feel like she was watching Lorraine that entire time, and then she finally got pissed off enough to go like fucking possess. Like, hey, fuck you, bitch, get off my land. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
possess this bitch. You know, like it. You can just sum it up like that, but the sequence of events is
Yeah, dude.
amazing. I love it.
Another really interesting Bathsheba scene was you remember when they were down in the basement and she was trying to kill the daughter, and then the male ghost investigator was like Bathsheba, and then she turned around and
Ed,
showed
yeah.
her face.
Yeah, dude. It went
Just
from like
Bathsheba. I
a
loved
messed
that
up
scene.
I
Caroline
thought that
instantly
scene was
to just
pretty cool.
Bathsheba. Or like,
Like when she turned around and then just fucking roared at him, and then he just yells, "By the power of God, I condemn you back to hell!" And then you're just sitting there like,
it's like,
"Oh,
yeah,
ah!" And then
The
like the
power
rain,
of
and then
Christ!
let's go.
the rain just like reaches her hand through the fucking wooden floor, is like, "Carolyn, hear me, hear the power of God!" Like something about that, like that first movie was,
Yeah, the
it
first
is
movie
good.
was really good. And did you guys hear about the box office with it? Didn't I think it had like a budget of 20 million and then it made 263 million?
Yeah, dude.
No wonder. I mean, it made like well over 10 times its original budget. So yeah,
Yeah, dude, it made so much money. I mean, for good reason too. It's a really good film
Oh,
in the
it's a good film.
horror genre.
The director did a really good job, but I feel like they started to rely more on CGI, and that kind of just ifted.
Yeah, but you know, that's kind of the tragedy with all sequels. It'll never be as good.
I was
Dylan, you
gonna
were
say
saying
the
something?
scene too, uh, where she's in the chair with a sheet over her and whatnot, and they're trying to start the exorcism. And
And she starts like
okay,
laughing.
yeah, well, I mean, just that whole sequence was not okay at all. But when uh, Ed was trying to talk and she was just not doing anything, and then he was like, "Show yourself," and she just looks up, and like half the sheet is
Oh yeah,
like
then part of this
uncovering her
sheet
face, and it's
rips.
Bathsheba. I was like, "Ugh!"
And then the bit where like
Remember that
floats upside down and
scene?
smacks the
"Oh
roof.
my lord!"
And then she like drops her, and then she like stands up a little bit, and everything like halfway, and then she starts laughing. It's like she's
That
already
laugh,
gone, and now you're all gonna die.
bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Part of me wishes I could
oh,
see that for the first time again, dude. That was insane.
Also, can I just
yes,
say
it fucking
one thing
was.
about that?
Hmm.
Bathsheba has balls of steel. Bro challenged a 1v5.
On God.
Straight up, fucking shot like she bit off a sheriff's cheek, tried to shoot him with a shotgun. And according to one of the daughters, this was actually quoted during one of her interviews. She said that her mom, when they were trying to, do an exorcism on her, she spoke a language not of this world in a voice and tone not of herself. So it makes you think, like, what the fuck could she have said? Like, a language not of this world? The
Maybe
fuck does
like
that mean?
maybe it was Bathsheba speaking in Bathsheba's ugly freaking old voice, like maybe
Or
in
maybe like an ancient
like
She could have
tongue
been
or
Tongues or
something like
Latin or
speaking.
that.
something like that.
She could have been probably just speaking Latin because that's usually associated with things like
Um,
that. But
with the like you said with the Latin, I'd imagine because like when I say this, I'm taking context from every other demon in every other horror movie. It's usually like pitched down reverse Latin, so it sounds more like harsh going night. I told my
Yeah,
night. I don't know. You know what I mean?
yeah, or like
mm-hmm.
Devil's Latin or something like that. Or it could be like very, very, very like original Latin. It's just super whack.
Yeah, like 1.0
Yeah.
before we got any update patches.
Forgot before it got the buff, you know.
Like in the patch, I was like made it so you can't accidentally summon Satan
Yeah.
when trying to ask for a cup of water.
Bro.
I think like you just gotta think about that kind of shit though, right? Like the original, like the family itself, they weren't Christian or like religious, as far as I could tell. They weren't baptized either, and then out of nowhere, your mom is fucking possessed.
Yeah.
Although I'm pretty sure it was a rampart of over like years of haunting and stuff like that before the Warrens ended up getting involved. But still, like dealing with that for fucking years of just voices and awful smells and like
Oh yeah,
knocking
the
on the
smell, the
fucking
rotting
like doors and
flesh, and like the
windows.
clocks never changing or something like that.
Yeah, ending at
You
307
know,
and then not changing because that's when she died, supposedly.
Yeah.
not according to our records, but still, it's just it's a really weird thing to think
Yeah.
It's a
about.
very weird
And I know
situation.
we keep reiterating that it's it's really weird to think about, but like it's a unique situation because these movies are just like they're really
Yeah.
well done. They are based off some real things, and it's just
And something I also think about is like you said earlier, where they had been dealing with this for years. Who knows what other shit they could have seen, but just decided not to talk about it because it was like that fucked up or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Maybe
wasn't
maybe
there a
they like
piece in
all
it?
got possessed or something by these spirits, and that's why they never said anything.
At like a different time, so their memories are gone or something.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be messed up.
The demon is just fucking with them, like, and you have dementia, and you have dementia,
You have
and you have.
PTSD and yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff, man.
There's also an element we haven't talked about yet, which would be Valak
Oh my,
or the
hate
Nun.
Alex so much.
Yeah.
I hate the idea that they put that demon in the movie. I'm just gonna refer to the demon as her because it takes the form of a nun. Um, but still, like, just it didn't make sense to me why they had to add Valak. I feel like the second movie would have been better if it was just Bill
Yeah,
Wilkins, you know,
I th-
because that's supposedly who
I
originally
think it was
haunted,
so they
right?
could make the movie
But
The Nun. To be honest,
the nun was scary, but also not that scary at the same time. Like it relied a bit too much on practical effects here and
yeah,
there. It or not practical CGI. It didn't rely enough on practical for my taste.
Yeah, and with like the nun and all of like the other more like minor spirits, and the
but that little
conjuring
like
and all that.
demon dude as well
I
that
think
haunted Annabelle, I think.
yeah, that one too. I'm bringing that one into this, but I think they more put those in as like inserts to guarantee a sequel because I think their thought putting them in was, oh, the audience would be like, ooh, what's that spirit? What's their lore? You know what I mean?
Oh,
And I mean, I can't
Like the
blame them for
Annabelle doll in
thinking
the
like
first
that.
movie.
I mean, the movie industry has to keep making movies.
right.
You know what I mean?
Which like sucks, but at the same time, it
Yeah.
is like I don't know. You can
It's understandable, but it sucks.
yeah, you can like forever talk about like just how quote unquote real or not quote unquote real the first movie is and most of the second movie at least. But then the other ones it's like, oh, it's cool, like it's more like lore to explore and it's like I don't know, it's really interesting to me. But then it's the other side of just like all right, now it's just not believable at all. It's just like
Yeah,
another
now this
like
is
horror
just treading
series.
into every other horror
Yeah,
series.
and if it was its own horror series, it's it's a pretty I'd say it's a pretty decent
It'd
series.
be
You know
a
what I mean?
decent standalone. Like nothing like spectacular. Doesn't do anything in spades, but like
Yeah, it's not
it's
bad.
Have you
serviceable.
guys? Have any of you guys seen the Annabelle
No,
movies?
I think I've seen like half of the first one. And I was like, that's kind of stupid.
I believe there's three,
I'm
if I'm
pretty
not
sure. Yeah,
I
mistaken.
know there's
No,
two.
two. There's two. There's Annabelle, like beginnings or Annabelle comes home or whatever, and like then her origin story. So the Annabelle doll originally, as far as I can remember, was a doll that a cult sacrificed, people to, and blood got on the doll, so a demon ended up possessing the doll to try to use to lure
Wasn't it
people in
like
and everything. The original Annabelle.
wasn't it
Oh,
like that
sorry, what?
little mini Satan looking dude? I can't remember his name.
Like in the
Like
movies.
the demon itself that went into Annabelle. I'm gonna look it up. You keep talking.
I know what
Oh,
you're
I
talking
already am looking
about.
it up. I
Malthus.
The
already am
picture of
looking it up.
the guy that's on like all fours or
Yeah, it's
whatever.
Malthus.
Malthus,
It's the Annabelle demon.
something like that. I'm not sure I'm on like the actual like real life things about that like at all. I have no idea if that is true. I think they made that up
Either
for
that
the
or it might have
movies.
just been like based off of like story or like tall tale that was told back in the day.
I'm not too sure about the original Annabelle doll. All I know is it was pretty sure it was involved in some cult,
Yeah.
sacrificial stuff, and they ended up getting, the doll got possessed. It's currently at the museum right now that is currently closed. But yes, it is. It's in a lock and key case, and it's been said that anyone who breaks the rule of don't touch the case has met a very unfortunate accident on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's just that's the original story. In the Conjuring universe, the Annabelle doll, of course, is possessed after a farmer makes the Annabelle doll for his daughter. Her name is Annabelle Higgins. That's where the doll gets her name. And the daughter ends up getting hit by a car and killed
Jeez.
because she's
I
a
don't know
fucking
any of
idiot.
this, by the
So
way. This
skill
is
issue.
all new to me.
Yeah, this she ends up getting hit by a car and killed. This guy was like a famous doll maker and everything like that.
Rough.
And when they ended up, taking her doll and leaving it in her room and everything, and they start to like pray that they could see their daughter again, right? That's when the demon starts to take advantage, and it starts to like show up as like their daughter and everything. They start to hear whispers, and then the demon asks for permission to possess the doll. Them thinking it's their daughter, says yes. So then they start to see their daughter around the place and everything like that, and it eventually comes to a point where the daughter is no the demon ends up like attacking them and trying to kill them or something like that, and like scratches the mom's face or something like that, and they end up locking the doll away inside a room that is literally covered in pages of the Bible, and then with crosses all over it, and then blessed by a priest, and then they seal the room with the doll in there, hoping that it contains the evil. It doesn't, but they hope it does. And then, them being big idiots after like 20 years later is like, you know what, let's adopt a bunch of orphans. And so that's what they do. They adopt a bunch of orphans into their home. One of the orphans is dumb enough to ignore the rule of don't go in that room. Even though we're giving you shelter, you're going to break our rules anyways and go in
As you
there.
do.
And then she goes in there, she opens the door, she releases fucking Annabelle. Annabelle goes on a murder spree, kills the farmer by bending his fingers backwards away from a
Oh
cross and
my.
then killing him. And then he rips his wife in half and then fucking positions her up like Jesus on the cross with her fucking intestines.
Holy
Jesus
crap,
fucking
dude.
doom
This is in
finisher.
this is in the movie, by the way. He then, I believe, kills all the orphans and the nun that's there and possesses one of the orphan girls who is then adopted by a family. And since he possesses her, he acts like a normal girl and eventually, just he goes through the phases. He goes as a normal person until she eventually joins a cult. The girl that he possesses, he makes her join a cult that is to him, and she runs away from home. She ends up killing her foster parents, I
God.
believe, and that's when the Annabelle doll, at one point was lost, and then that goes into the second movie, where a family that is just starting out, named Mia and shit like that, she buys the doll, or her husband buys the doll for her for their new kid, and the person that Malthus possessed, the girl, like notices the new where they are, and they go over there and try to kill the mother and her unborn child, but ends up killing herself. Like the possessed person kills himself. It's a whole
Jeez.
fuck thing. His entire point is though he just tries to get the mother to kill herself, and he says he'll leave her daughter alone if she kills herself because he wants her soul. So that's what he does. He tries to torture a mother into killing herself so that she can get the mother's soul, and she'll then leave. He'll leave the daughter alone. He
I
won't
was
try to
just
kill
gonna
the
say,
daughter
like,
himself.
what is Malthus's like whole point, or like, is it just to be?
Just
Oh,
getting a soul is what it's a demon's end goal.
also,
And what? Oh, sorry, keep
not
going.
to like cut off the conversation, but I was doing some research, and the cult in all the movies, it's the disciples of the Ram, and their whole thing is
Oh,
just worshiping Satan and demons and bringing
That
them into the world and giving them power and all that.
that would make sense why Malthus
wasn't
looks like that then.
that
Yeah,
based off of like a real cult as well?
I think it was based off of the
I believe so.
Charles Manson cult,
Hmm.
because I remember hearing his
Mm.
name bounced around. Though I'm not too sure how accurate that
Because
is,
that cult
but
is
out of all the videos I've
heavily
seen,
like in the third Conjuring movie.
yeah, but off of all the research I've seen, it is based off of the Charles Manson cult. I could just be posting misinformation on the internet though, so
But yeah, the Annabelle movies are pretty fucked up in the way that they're done. Those are just the movies though. The movies are not really based in the same way um, that the real doll is. They don't follow that
Yeah.
at all.
yeah.
Uh, but the movies just like have their own made up thing where like Malthus kills a bunch of people, possesses a woman, and then he uses that woman to then kill herself and then haunt a brand new family and force the mom to try to kill herself. But what ends up happening is a friend of the mom's kills herself while holding the Annabelle doll, so that she gives her soul away to let that family be safe.
Dang.
And then the Annabelle doll ends up being, given away. And that's when those two nurses in the first movie end up finding the doll. And that's why she says her name is Annabelle Higgins, because it worked once before. And so she uses the doll, the Malthus uses the name Annabelle Higgins to gain people's trust and then starts to try to haunt them and get inside them.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the original doll is a Raggedy Ann
Yeah.
doll.
Isn't it?
Yeah, which
Is it
also
locked up in
brings
Yeah.
up the
the
question.
Ed and Lorraine or the like Warren Museum?
Yeah, but the museum sadly is very it's closed. It's been
It's
closed for
probably good.
years now. I don't know why. I think it's a housing issue. Um,
Are they?
It's too haunted.
but I'm doing a quick read real quick, but it looks like according to the Warrens, a student nurse was given the doll in 1971. They said it began, behave strangely, and that a psychic medium told the student that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a diseased girl. No, not diseased, deceased. My bad. A girl named Annabelle. The student and her roommate tried to accept and nurture the spirit possessed doll, but the doll reportedly exhibited malicious and frightening behavior. It was at this point that the Warrens say they first contacted moving the doll to the museum and pronouncing it demonically possessed. The doll remains in a glass box at the Warren Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut until the museum's closing.
Yeah, well, something I also wanted to ask about the Annabelle doll. Why the fuck didn't they burn that piece of shit?
When you burn it, its spirit just gets released. It's like stepping. They explain this in the movies, and I'm not sure how real it is, but like, it's like when it gets attached to an item. It's like the item holds them there, but it also is used as an item of
Yeah.
power, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a double-edged sword. So if you burn it, then the thing will be, free to possess anything else. But if you like exercise it or get rid of the demon, then
Isn't
the
that
item is
why
fine.
they're
But
afraid to move that kind of
it
stuff too?
yes, you have to have everything like be, like blessed by a
So I
priest and
was
all that kind
gonna
of thing.
also mention like um, if the Warrens have tried to move any of their stuff to like a different museum or something like that, or a different place that they could keep it, so maybe they don't have to have that stuff in their home anymore. Like I wonder what the story behind that
Uh,
is.
well, well, both of the Warrens are now. They've both since passed on. I think Ed passed in 2001 and Lorraine passed in
Oh shoot.
2019, but they have both passed away at this point. So neither of them actually owns the rights to, do anything because they're dead.
Yeah.
So, but none of them, like whoever owns it, I'm pretty sure it might just be their, children, or it might just be someone whoever owns their stories. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing anymore. They're trying to reopen the museum though.
Um, Imagine like the entire museum was just like a giant scheme, just like pawn off free shit. I mean, just pawn off old shit that they don't want. It's like this old dresser is possessed by a 1,500-year-old spirit, and his name is Captain Shitfuck, and he killed like 30,000 babies. You know what I mean?
I do know that a university professor in Texas has proclaimed the Warren's Occult Museum to just be a bunch of junk that they use to make money. And it's also that could be the most real thing right there is that it could just straight up be that. It could just be a
Who
complete
knows?
scam.
That'd be fucking
It is
hilarious.
really interesting to talk about and like think about though, obviously, because we've been doing it for like
Yeah,
Yeah,
45
it's
it
minutes.
is,
definitely an
but
interesting thing to toy about and think deeper upon.
Yeah.
it could also just be like the Warrens might be taking advantage of people and then using them for money when those people are actually going through things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it said that Lorraine was a medium, so she could like speak to the dead or like talk to God or whatever,
Oh
something
yeah.
like that.
Whatever those fucking psychic
I think
assholes do.
that's what also made the third movie just really, really non-believable. Is there's a lot of that. Like, she was seeing a lot of prophecies and like stuff like that. That I was just like, okay, it's getting a little too far here.
Okay, getting a little bit
she literally just
too
has power.
Nostradamus out here.
Yeah. But uh, we covered a lot of details. Not gonna
I
lie.
was just say one
We
more.
covered the first, the second movie, and then the Curse of La Llorona. We covered both the Annabelle movies. Well,
Just-
I did, but they're not really good movies, and they're not really based in anything, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of they're
It's
kind
like
of shit, in my opinion. They're
it's
not
like
very good
just
horror.
turning the original Annabelle doll, which is like just kind of a creepy thing, into something just absolutely just
Not what it is.
yeah.
Something I also wanted to ask, since it appears that we're reaching the end of the Annabelle and the Conjurverse and all that shit. Have you guys had any supernatural occurrences? 'Cause I know I have.
I'm trying to think.
I had one. It was one when I was a lot younger. I've always thought about this, whenever I get asked this question, but it was when I lived in Canby in like before I even moved here. I think this was like in the first grade or something around there.
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten scared one night, I guess, so I decided to go sleep in my mom's room, but she was like dead asleep, so I was like, I bet. I just plopped down, on her floor right at like the foot of her bed, and I started sleeping. And when I looked up, I fucking saw a woman in a white dress looking down at me, and that's like the only thing that I can remember about that. And all I remember is just fucking screaming, and my mom just woke up and was like, "What's wrong?" And I ended up sleeping in her bedroom. But I remember just being like an ethereal fucking woman in a white dress being there. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"The
Holy
fuck?"
oh, I have an occurrence too.
That's like the only supernatural thing that I have ever had happen to me personally. But that's about it.
Yeah. What were you saying, Dylan?
I got one. I don't know if you want to go first. If you want me to.
No, you can go first. Mine's a little bit longer.
Okay. I'll try and make it short. There was. Okay, I guess I have two.
It's
Technically.
not. We're not really cut for time,
yeah.
so you know what I mean. Just go crazy.
Shoot. I'm trying to remember. What was the other one? Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of have two. So the first one was when I was still working at the pizza place and whatnot. Uh, I think I had closed, or it was just nighttime in general. And I took the highway back home where there's just not a lot of streetlights because of where we live at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just had my headlights on. And I was just jamming out. And I was like looking around. I checked my mirrors, and then I look back in front of me, and on the side of the road, like at the edge of the one of the farm like fields, was just two people standing there, like holding hands. It was like a larger, like shorter dude, and then a taller, skinny woman, wearing like I don't like robes or something like that, and they're just standing there, and it
Yeah.
was just a glimpse, and I was like, what was that? Nah, dude. No, 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 no,
It's
no.
just some fucking tweakers.
And then
Imagine.
I look back, and it's just like there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So that was one. The other one, also like short story. Sometimes it's been a while since I've heard it, but a couple years ago, there was a couple times at night when I was just at my house chilling in my room, and you'll sometimes hear coyotes or animals around.
Yeah.
You can just hear it even inside the house when it's super quiet. But one night, I think I was home alone too. I was in my room just doing whatever. I think I was gaming, and I just start hearing like laughing. And I was like, what is that? I like look outside my window, and keep listening, and it sounds almost like hyenas, like a hyena laugh.
Yeah.
And it kept going every once in a while. And I was like, dude, that doesn't sound like anything that's around. I don't know an animal that can do that that's actually around here. And so I was just chilling in my room, and I just kept hearing it, and I like never heard it since.
Yeah, fucking the supernatural occurrences are always really strange to me because there's this one friend that used to hang out at their place all the time, and it's like a really small house in the middle of like a super large field. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And there's like this little boy spirit, and the reason why I know that is because I actually saw him multiple times.
What?
Yeah, like can before and never mind, I won't get into that detail. Uh, but like I was down in the basement by myself while all my friends were outside or upstairs or whatever.
Yeah.
I was just watching YouTube and I heard like you know those shoes that are like really clickety clackety,
Like tap
but they're
shoes.
for like children. Yeah, like, they kind of sound like tap shoes, but it was like children's shoes. Anyway,
Well, like cowboy boots with like
Oh,
spurs.
no,
No,
like the
am
no.
I
really
tripping?
old, like that
Yeah,
kids
like
are
the really
wearing.
old children's shoes that like click
Yeah,
clack,
like
click clack.
glossy
You know what I
ones that
mean?
have just like the
Yeah,
heels or whatever.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I know what you mean.
Um, I so like there's two rooms, the main room, and then to the right of it or to the left of it is like a another room that has absolutely nothing in it. And multiple times I've heard those same shoes I just described walking.
Uh,
And there's this also this other time when I was by myself. I don't know why I'm by myself in these stories. I sound like a horror movie
yeah.
character. But in this one, at this point, we had like drapes up on the walls because there weren't any doors.
Mm.
And there's another room where it had like the machine that like makes the hot water. Can't remember what they're
Water
called.
heater.
Water. God damn it. But yeah, the fucking water heater room. And the drape was like half open. And when I say that, I mean like the bottom of it was like dragged to the other side. It's like you can
Oh
kind
yeah,
of see in, but it's like pitch black.
yeah.
Um, I remember watching YouTube and I glanced over and I saw a child's face just staring at me.
Oh,
And then I did a double take and it wasn't there. But when I did the double take, the drape was moving.
bro.
And then there's also this other occurrence where it was like a big group hangout. We were all chilling in the upstairs living room, and I was talking to my friends like, "Yeah, I found something really cool up in the attic. Do you want to come up with me and help me find it real quick?" To my one friend, and he's like, "Yeah, sure." So we walk over to the attic stairs. I open the door and then I turn on the light. I turn around and is like, "All right, I think I know where it is." And then the light just turns off for no reason. And I was like, oh, okay, I might have accidentally hit the switch. So like, flick, flick, flick. Ah, ah.
Oh no.
I turn around like, dude, fuck, he's
Oh
here.
my god.
And then throughout that entire night, I heard the same footsteps upstairs in the attic.
Dude, that is crazy.
Like, no, like no, normally I wouldn't consider myself like a crazy superstitious person. Like I understand that ghosts exist or like energies of deceased people because energy just can't be destroyed. You know what I mean? It has to go somewhere.
Right.
But like I I've probably had upwards of 12 to 15 occurrences in that house,
Jeez. Did you like
both on the inside and outside.
did you find like or ask around if there's any like I don't know, something bad that happened there like
I
historically?
I remember asking the my friend's mom and grandma, and apparently a kid died there.
Oh, that might do
Yeah.
You know,
it.
as
Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently
as children do.
on large
Just it's like,
large
oh, dead.
fuck,
farmhouses, you know.
bro, fuck them kids.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to bring up the whole supernatural thing, because I've had quite the handful of supernatural occurrences. Even outside of that, like um, there's also this other one, and the reason why I didn't bring this up was because I chalked it up to random chance.
Hmm.
But we were all downstairs in the basement. And we were watching YouTube on the Switch, and then my friend went up to put something in the search bar, and like she just went like limp in everywhere except her arms,
What the heck?
and she spelled little boy 3 times with her eyes closed, like
Uh,
3 times, and then after that she kind of like got a grip of herself, and then she couldn't do it again.
bro, what the freak?
So I chalked it up to random chance, but you know,
Still.
it can only get so random. I'm
Right.
starting to think it's a dream speed run.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Dude, what the heck?
But yeah, dude, fucking spirits just like to fuck with me, I
I
guess.
guess so. They just wait. They're just waiting for you to join them. You know what I mean? Just trolling you to the point where you can't be trolled no more.
Trolling to the point of no return. But yeah, that's why when I was doing research on like the hauntings and shit, it hit a little closer to home, because when they were talking about this sort of benevolent stuff where like it was just fucking around with them, like doing the
Yeah.
knocking and then the clapping and all that, I sat there and thought, I was like, you know, I've had a couple of these things
Bro,
happen.
the clapping. I forgot about that. When they were playing hide
Yeah.
and seek, and then like she was blindfolded, and then you just see hands come out of like darkness and clapped. Oh no!
No, 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 no. I think you
You
got that
sure? I
sequence wrong.
swear. Or
I know what you're talking about. It's when they were playing hide and clap in the
yeah.
beginning. They set that up, but then there's the where the hands come out of nowhere. That's when the mom is trapped in the basement, and like
Oh.
she grabs the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fucking like she grabs the like the lighter or the matches and she holds it, and then the hands just go
Well, there's
right
this
next to her.
I don't mean to interrupt
No, you're
you,
good.
but there's also another sequence where they're up in the upstairs of the house.
She was doing that with her daughter, but she didn't end up seeing that. She just we saw it. We saw it with
No,
the
yeah,
camera.
yeah,
We saw the
that's
hands
that's
come
what I
out.
was gonna say.
But she went to the wardrobe and said, "Gotcha!" And then when the daughter said, "Ah, I got it right. I was in the other room." Ah, ah, ah," and she's like, "Huh?" Huh? Starts opening the closet.
Got
Tries
your
to get
Bro,
the
what are
ass.
you
fuck.
doing, bro? Don't open that. Don't open them doors, bro.
Stop trolling, stop trolling.
Guys, we should play. Guys, we should play
You
hide and
should
clap.
die.
Yeah, and then one of us just gets fucking sacrificed to Satan.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it'd probably be you though.
What the
But yeah,
hell?
you have been haunted the most. It sounds like.
Yeah, you're also not native to this land,
That's
so.
some bullshit.
That's why they're haunting you.
Get out of here, you foreigner! I don't want your kind here. We
Ghost.
speak English.
Base spirits.
Oh,
Base
also,
conservative
quick
spirits.
random, quick random thing. Sony has officially announced that PS5s will no longer be in short stock.
Oh yeah, that was a news piece I was gonna talk about, but I guess
Fucking 3 years
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's nearing its like fifth fucking anniversary. And,
I don't even want it anymore,
yeah, I don't.
dude.
I don't
Fuck
even
that
want
shit.
it because, like,
Actually, you need it.
what? Well, that's fair. Dude, I feel so bad for my PlayStation. So for
Shit's a jet
for
engine.
context, my PlayStation is a day one, right?
heck yeah, dude.
And it's still working to this day. But there
Mo's been
was
crying for you to put him to
oh
bed for like
oh
20
dude,
years now.
trust me, it does. But so what I did a while ago was I would leave it for like 6 months in like hibernation, and then out of nowhere I turn it on and boot up Modern Warfare 2019, and all I hear is just starting to go like, ah! And just start screaming at me. He's like, for the love of God,
Bro, you
please.
when your PS4 dies, it's gonna come back and haunt you. The spirit of the PS4 is gonna haunt you.
Like I'm just gonna be
You know
laying
what I'm
down
thinking?
thinking of
I'm
going to
thinking his
bed.
PS4 is haunting him. I am thinking it's haunting him right now. That's the reason he's seeing all this shit.
It's
That
somehow
it's his
his
PS4.
PS4. Yeah.
It's like, you remember when you launched Modern Warfare after like a year of not using me? Yeah, dickhead. Bathsheba, bitch. Counter that.
Well, I
Yeah, I'm gonna have a full-on funeral for my PlayStation when it does, and y'all better attend.
have like a
But
military send off.
I think we have. I think we've covered all bases with this
I was
topic.
gonna
Yeah, I
Though.
think
say
we went
we should
pretty in depth in it.
continue doing like I mean this was not a small this was a full this is longer than episode 0 at this point, which is kind of crazy.
Considered it a treat.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be episode 1, but I think we should do like exploring other entities or like the Wendigo. We could do a Wendigo episode, or we could do
There's a lot. Like there is a lot of background to the Wendigo. By the way, I know quite a good bit. I could definitely go into some
and
good
maybe
detail
have
with that one.
like we could do a Phasmo episode, bro. We could I know Carson has some pretty crazy stories. I remember him telling at least me. I don't know if he told you guys. Once he finally is able to get on here, we could do
Yeah,
something
once
like
he
that.
can finally fucking make the schedule, damn
Yeah.
it.
But
He is at
Yeah, he
school,
does
you know,
have school.
Brendan.
I don't care.
but
We have a set time, damn it.
otherwise, that was a pretty solid episode. Sorry if to any listeners if we explained it poorly, but and hopefully don't spoil
Yeah,
it for you.
don't flame us in the comments like, oh, you got the lore wrong. Oh, I hate you. Never watching again.
But based on the
You know
title,
what I mean?
Nah, suck my dick, suck my dick.
I
don't
will
care.
post misinformation.
Ah, misinformation on the internet. Ah.
but yeah, and if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? Like,
Oh yeah, go watch The Conjuring. Go watch
yeah,
all of
even
them
though
right
you
now.
kind of
Do it.
pretty
Yeah.
much know everything now, go watch it and like get some ideas for yourself.
Do it now,
I
pussies.
haven't seen it.
Alright.
I've only seen Cliff Notes, and I still think
Thank
it's pretty
you,
baller.
thank you to anyone who has ever listened to this, and
We'll see
have a
you
good night,
later,
Good
everyone.
guys.
night. Goodbye. What? Wait, what? That's what you wanted to show me? Are you serious? Dude, that fucking sucks.